Who's next? The Turnpike Incident. Pro wrestling has had its fair share of streaks. Sure, the Undertaker streak at WrestleMania is impressive. But what about the underrated streaks that have gone on throughout the years? Such as the yellow streak sprayed down Macho Man Randy Savage's back every other week by the NWO during the late 90s. Or the streak of Raw shows that we didn't watch since John Cena became a permanent fixture in the WWE Championship title picture. There's also the never-ending streak of Hall of Fame ceremonies we had to suffer through before Lord Alfred Hayes finally gets the recognition he deserves. Welcome back to Story Time, here in the Time Machine on Chaos Corner. It's me, the GOC. Sit back and relax. Drop an elbow on that like button. Thank you, Austin. I also acknowledge the OTS Tribal Queen. One man, unique, unedited, unscripted, raw dog for you, the fans. You can't forget the awful streak of terrible movies Hulk Hogan made during his late 80s semi-retirement, and the bad luck streak that began for WCW soon after Ricky Rackman hosted his first Nitro party. If you remember that. What a show we have for you today. On the other hand, perhaps the most overrated streak of all time, the Goldberg streak. Knee deep in a failed football career, I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Bill Goldberg began his quick climb up the Nitro ladder by defeating Hugh Morris in his debut match on September 22nd, 1997. Take out your notebooks. Class is in session. I will be taking attendance. His overhyped push, backed by his non-dimensional gimmick of a silent beast with superhuman strength, helped Goldberg reach heights quicker than a Santa's sleigh home video release. Merry Christmas, we're right around the corner. Remember to be good, for goodness sakes. The king of the squash match, Bill Goldberg. Let me think about this. The king of the squash match. That would definitely be Bill Goldberg. Can you think of anybody else? As I wrap myself up here and change, these are getting heavier by the episode. That hurt. Who else, in your opinion? We're talking about squash matches here. We're talking about Goldberg. Who else did squash matches like Goldberg? From any era. Put out some suggestions. I'd like to test your knowledge here. Put it in the chat, email me, inbox me. Let's get it going on this one. Squash matches. One-dimensional Goldberg, as I said. He made his pay-per-view debut by pinning fellow gridiron grappler Steve Mongo McMichael. And at 74-0, he seriously, how many of those were won against guys like Jerry Flynn on Thursday Night Thunder or Saturday Thunder, whenever the fuck the program was on? Goldberg challenged the then United States champion Raven, and despite interference from the Flock, the former Georgia Bulldog had already captured his first wrestling gold. As Goldberg began dabbling in the main event scene, it was his "Who's Next" catchphrase that helped fans notice his expanding winning streak as well as his expanding ego, that's for sure, even proven here in 2024 where he still wants to have another match. And how he buried Bray Wyatt's gimmick over in Saudi Arabia. He may still be over there in the sand somewhere. I know you guys remember that. What a travesty of justice. Now, don't get me wrong. I was in my middle 30s, going into my later 30s during the Goldberg gimmick, the Monday Night Wars. He put asses in seats. There's no two ways about that. He brought excitement. But just like people say about Hogan and what he did or didn't do in the ring, you could say the same about Goldberg. But did anybody rise quicker in this business than Bill Goldberg? I don't think so. Go back and look at the time span. Do some research. Do your due diligence here on this channel. That's why I present these facts to you in these stories. Who's next? His expanding winning streak as well as his expanding ego, as I just said. In just his 108th match, Goldberg jackhammered his way into wrestling record books by defeating Hollywood Hulk Hogan for the WCW, think about it, World Heavyweight Championship. After 174 straight victories, Kevin Nash finally snapped the elusive streak thanks to a stun gun wielding run-in from Scott Hall. What a lame ending that was to the gimmick, to the streak. Goldberg's limited in-ring skills were overshadowed by his intimidating and pyro-filled entrances. Meanwhile, in the sincerest form of mockery, longtime jobber, scrub, enhancement talent wrestler Dwayne Gill was dubbed Gilbert by the WWE. I had a chance to work a few events with Gilbert. Dwayne Gill, what a nice guy. The Gilbert gimmick, he went on to win the light heavyweight championship. That was the Monday Night Wars, whether it be the Ted Turner skits or Gilbert imitating Goldberg. Listen, I get it. It was lame, but it was entertaining. I'll say that to say this. Fresh with sparklers and fire extinguishers, the Gilbert gimmick and a new streak was born. And the greatest wrestling parody this side of the Blue World Order. Another excellent gimmick copy, if you will. Just a brief synopsis on Bill Goldberg. I wanted to put that out there. I wanted to talk about these stories. It's relevant to now in the industry, in the community, because everyone's talking about it, and he may come back for Saudi Arabia here in 2024 or the next show in 2025. Goldberg, what do you fans think? Will he come back? Will he get another shot? Will it be for a title? And again, go back and research what Goldberg did do in those 100-plus matches during the streak and the excitement and how they were building him up. And I'm not comparing him to what they did briefly in AEW for Wardlow, but it was very similar. And had TK and AEW gone on with what they were doing with Wardlow right after fresh off of being MJF's bodyguard and so on and so forth, you would have had a streak and a persona and a gimmick and a star second to none that would have fit in for this era, a la Goldberg, with much better in-ring skills. That's just my opinion. So I wanted to bring you this short story time here on who's next. Don't go anywhere, because we're coming back with the Turnpike incident. Which, you know what? I think we'll add it right here. We're only 10 minutes in. Let me give you another brief story that a lot of you are aware of. The Turnpike incident. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, the Iron Sheik. You know my history of being on Jerry Springer Amazing Tales with the Iron Sheik, hanging out at the Crowbar, the House of Blues in Chicago, having a couple of pops before we went on the air for Springer, the night before at the hotel room with the Iron Sheik when he was hitting the glass digger. What did I say, man? Well, it was well known, the Sheik. He had his, none of us are perfect. And then, of course, I just mentioned in one of the last episodes, the short feud when I was with Ricky Landell and also the Masked Executioners when we went up against, I believe it was Michael Sane as well, against Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Don't think I forgot Hacksaw. It was an honor. But I said it in one of the last recent shows when that DJ out of New York City cattle prodded me. I wasn't happy about it, man. All in your name, Hacksaw. Oh, I get it, USA. God bless you, Hacksaw. I hope you're doing okay. That's why you guys are here, because I give you the interaction of what I did in my career as an insider, a talent, a performer, and what I do now in this space along with podcasters. And this isn't a podcast, this is a show. This is reality. You're better off when you walk out of here than when you walked in here. And I'll continue to say that. Let's get on to the Turnpike incident before we wrap up this show. Much like the unanswered question of why did the chicken cross the road, wrestling fans for decades have been wondering why their hometown hero, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and his arch enemy, the Iron Sheik, were arrested together by the New Jersey State Police on May 26, 1987. I hope your notebooks are still out and you're writing this down. While driving from a wrestling show on the New Jersey Turnpike, it was bad enough that the 2x4 wielding tough guy was under the influence of alcohol and marijuana, which is now legal in most states, while the former WWF champion was busted for being in possession of various other drugs. But they were together in the same car. That, my friends, is preposterous. And that's what we miss about kayfabe. There was nothing like kayfabe. And when it was broken, it ruined the business. Whether you fans want to believe it or not. Seriously, isn't that like Superman and Lex Luthor being caught robbing a bank together? Sadly for Duggan, he was released while the Iron Sheik received a 1-year probation. Meanwhile, it was a black eye for the wrestling industry that may have single-handedly changed the business forever. Because since that ill-advised driving miscue, we quickly realized that pro wrestling was as unrealistic as Bigfoot or Dead Elvis and all the sightings of Elvis. And certainly much faker, and don't call me fake, I don't like that word. People take it seriously, and if you say it around Dr. Schultz, he'll slap the shit out of you. The old paintbrush. Go out and get his book, Don't Call Me Fake. I have it here down in the Vault of Chaos Chronicles. We've reviewed some of it here. You guys know I bounty hunted for David Schultz, the original bad boy of pro wrestling. Get in the ring. Go down to a training facility. Sign the waiver and get in the fucking ring yourself, and you tell me how fake it is. I'll defend it till the day I die. You want to say predetermined outcome? Sure. But fake? More physical than any sport you'll ever try in your life. And them's the facts. And this was one of the biggest things that ruined kayfabe, even though it was later in the 80s. Think about these incidents. Do your research. I know you know about a lot of them, but that's why I present these here to you. For a reason. And as I said, much faker than this is what they're saying. The WrestleMania 10 toupee worn by the former Fincus Maximus, the greatest wrestling ring announcer ever, Howard Finkel. You can't make these stories up in the world of pro wrestling. And now I will say it. Because I'll say that to say this. Because I tell it like it is. Don't you dare miss it. Come on back. Don't go anywhere. There's 3 types of people in this world. Those who don't know what happened, those who wonder what happened, and the fans of the GOC that make things happen.